Hello, boys and girls. Undertaker Freak 1127 here. And you may have noticed in the past, if you kept up with the old channels that I had, that whenever I talked about Finland, I talked about it with an air of positivity. Some people would call it bragging. I really hope I didn't come off as being braggadocious about being in what I thought was the better country for me personally. All I knew is that since the age of 14, I really did not want to be in the United States. And I fell in love with a woman who lived in Finland, and we had been talking since 2012, and 2018 I made the move. I came here after visiting a couple of times, and I had all these ideas in my head as to how I was going to make things work, because I had so many people telling me, both on YouTube and in my personal life, that I wasn't going to make it here. And when I say not going to make it, I don't mean I wasn't going to find my way here. I mean that I just would not acclimate. I would not get used to living in such a lonely and isolated part of the world. I mean, I am somebody who has felt quite a lot of loneliness in his life, and when you move to a place like Finland, loneliness is magnified tenfold, because people here are very distant, very cold, very averse to making friends with foreigners. And I'm not just talking about the nationalists and the racists, although those seem to be cropping up everywhere these days. People are just generally not very willing to go out of their way to make outsiders feel comfortable, which is fine. That is their right, that is their prerogative. And this is something that I knew before I came here. But I thought that I had, in my wife and in my attitude, I thought that I had enough to keep me going through those days where I looked around me and looked at my empty list of friends and looked at just how sad I was feeling on any given day, especially during the winter time where it's really, really dark. And I'm still not used to that. When it's dark, like 22 hours of the day, I thought that I had enough to get me through. And I'm here to tell you, folks, despite all the reports of Finland being the happiest country on earth, which it's not, and despite how much healthier I feel overall being here, I don't know. It's very hard for me to look at the next 5 years and see me still living here if the struggles that I've been encountering still persist. I mean, hey, it's hard enough for anybody to leave a country they've been living in for 26 years and were born and raised in, and then to just, I've had my countless therapists tell me, like, yeah, well, of course, you're going to struggle and it's going to be hard because you're an expat and because it's a different culture, different this, different that, and I understand that. Not that I need a therapist to tell me that, but there comes a time where even therapy doesn't really work very much for you, and you're just kind of left to question, well, fuck, what do I do? What else is there? Do I just get up and leave? And I can't just get up and leave because I love my wife. I love her to death, and I don't want to uproot her the way that I chose, that's the important thing, to uproot myself to be with her. I can't ask the same of her, especially to go from a country like Finland that she's so used to, that has such a good, strong healthcare system, and a good social safety net. I can't ask her to just uproot all of that and then go to a country like the United States just because I'm unhappy. I have to find a way to be happy, but it's been 3.5 years, and it's, like I said, it's not getting any better. And in case you're wondering how I could be so unhappy in the supposedly happiest country in the world, that whole thing is bullshit. And if you don't believe me, ask a Finn. Ask a Finn how they feel about being named the happiest country in the world. They'll probably laugh. Hell, members of parliament. God, I can't remember his name. But he was told that Finland was named the happiest country in the world for like the 4th year in a row. And he said, oh God, I'd hate to see the other countries on that list. Nobody buys it here. And it's because the definition of happiness, depending on where you are, is different. Here, happiness is having the absolute bare minimum. If you got the bare minimum, if you got enough to survive, you consider yourself happy. You don't need anything else. If you got health care, and if you've got a social system in place so that if you do struggle, it won't be for very long, that's happiness. And to me, that's not how I would personally define happiness. Having the bare minimum is still, of course, 20 times better than how a lot of people on this planet have it. But if all you ever aspire for is the absolute bare minimum, how are you going to see other parts of the world? How are you going to see more of the world around you? How are you going to be able to live beyond the means of the bare minimum so you can enjoy things that everybody should be entitled to enjoy? Everybody should be entitled to be able to travel and to see the world and to leave their level, or to leave their little area of the world from time to time. You can't do that if all you ever have is just the bare minimum. So for me, that's not happiness. And I think I'm not alone in that respect. I'm not trying to say that I need everything to be happy. I don't need everything to be happy. But there's just so much in 3.5 years that I have not gotten used to. I have not gotten used to the coldness of the people. I have not gotten used to the pervasiveness of alcoholism in this culture and the way that it's celebrated, the hypocrisy in saying that we can't have e-cigarettes on the market because, you know, kids will start getting addicted to dangerous substances. But then I go down the aisle at the grocery store, and there's a bottle that looks exactly like a champagne bottle, cork wrapping and everything, and it's got Disney characters on it, and it's in the children's section of the drink aisle. It's like soft drink aisle. It's like the nanny state is ridiculous. The bureaucracy that just exudes from every single pore of government and every financial decision you make, any major purchase. You want to buy a car? Here's about 20 pages worth of red tape for you to sign, and here's a bunch of things you need to get stamped, and here's a bunch of things a bunch of people you need to call, here's a bunch of taxes that you need to pay. You want to buy a house? Oh my God. I've witnessed home ownership in 2 different countries now, 2 different parts of the world. Buying a house in the United States is a breeze, a fucking cakewalk compared to buying a house in this country. You know, buying a house and buying a car, 2 things that are really important for a lot of people, made prohibitively expensive and absolutely bogged down and mired in bureaucracy by the government. It's insane. And for the people like me who are lucky enough to be able to have their own cars and to be able to have their own homes, the red tape and the bureaucracy does not end there. Because you got to keep up with that shit. And they're always adding new taxes. I am not anti-tax, okay? I'm not anti-tax. That's what anybody should really know about me. I am happy to pay taxes if they contribute to a better society for everybody. That's why it pisses me off so badly when I see some of the worst pieces of human feces on the face of this earth, like Jeff Bezos, who makes all that money and pays no fucking taxes whatsoever to provide nothing good. When you balance everything out, he's really he's doing a disservice to this universe. But that's probably a topic for a different video, if I even make that video. But I think the biggest surprise to me about living in Finland for 3 years and still being just so unhappy, I think the biggest surprise is probably the winter. Because I grew up in Michigan. I was warned about the winters in Finland, and I'm like, oh, come on. So I went and I looked up the climatology, because I'm a meteorology nerd, I'm a weather nerd, and I see that Michigan gets on average more snow than where I lived in Helsinki. and also is on average colder during the winter. So I endured brutal winters, but it's that lack of sunlight that I try so much to avoid during the summer. When it's like when you have an overabundance of it, like you do in the summer, where it's daylight like 22 hours of the day, and then you go to the winter where there's no light for 22 hours of the day, you begin to miss the sun. And I really, really thought that by now my body would have adjusted to it, but I can't explain it. There's just something about when winter starts to creep up on you and you feel the days getting shorter and shorter and shorter, like way shorter than anything any American has ever experienced, in America, that is, unless you're in Alaska. Oh my God, it's just, you can feel it. And it's just this overwhelming feeling of, not dread, well, you just feel morose. You just feel more sluggish. You feel like some pep has been taken out of your step. And when I first visited in 2017, it was during the winter. It was the middle of the winter, and I witnessed the darkness firsthand. And I'm like, I could totally get used to this. This is pretty cool. And here I am 3 years later, about to face another long, brutal Finnish winter. And it's like, this sucks. And that's my overall point, is that this really, it does suck. On top of this, on top of all of this, you know, Finland bungled the COVID-19 vaccine rollout pretty badly. And today, I had a brief moment of joy because I read that vaccines have opened up for my age group here now. Finally, after watching my mom, my sister, and some of my old friends get their vaccines, some of them 3 months ago in the States, I was like, finally, I can get my jab and I can have that layer of protection. I can have that peace of mind. And then I go to sign up for a spot to get my jab, and what do you know? Bureaucracy rams its head again. No openings for at least the next month, after being told all of last year that it wouldn't be until this summer, early this summer at the latest, that I'd get my first jab. Probably gonna have to wait another month, and probably another month after that. And there are a lot of other, you know, smaller personal things about home ownership that have been really getting me down lately. But overall, I mean, people assume, probably based on the way that I've spoken about Finland in the past, that I'm just happy as a clam here, and I fit in so well because I'm a shy person and people here are shy. So that's how I rationalized that I would be okay with you know, the culture. That since I'm really shy myself, and it takes me a while to like crack out of my shell, then being surrounded by people who are also that way, but it's a different kind of shyness. It's like a stay the fuck away from me kind of shyness that a lot of Finns walk around with. Especially in Helsinki, especially in the city, especially these places where there are a lot of migrants, where there are a lot of people who sought asylum. And my God, just thinking about them for a second, if you have no pity on people who come from, you know, like Syria, who come from war-torn places, who come from places that are doing really poorly to try to make a decent life for themselves and for their family, if you have no care for them whatsoever, you have no sympathy for them whatsoever, then maybe you'll hear the words from somebody who came to Finland in a very good financial position, a white guy who knew that there was not going to be a lot of struggle in terms of employment and in terms of money. I'm an expat. I'm handling it very poorly. Just imagine the strife that those people must feel coming here from Syria, coming here from Libya, coming here from parts of the world where things are just so bleak and, you know, death is constantly on your mind. And some people just look at them like they're parasites and leeches and just like these fucking nationalist types. And here I am, a guy who, you know, and you know, with my particular set of issues, which aren't even really issues compared to them, and I'm, dare I say it, on average, averaging everything out, I'm pretty fucking miserable. And maybe that's why I'm back on YouTube. Maybe that's why I keep coming back. Maybe that guy... No, I already told Damien that he was right. In a comment, when I apologized to him and he shit all over the apology, I said, yeah, dude, you're right. I'm fucking miserable. You had me pegged all along. You were wrong about so many other things, but about that, you're right. To this day, I feel it. Do not let this whole Finland is the happiest country on earth shit fool you. Finland is the happiest country on the earth based on Finland's definition of happiness. And if you look at how many drunk people there are walking around here, and how people just they either don't get help for their alcoholism, or when they reach out for help for their alcoholism, it's another one of those things that's just mired in bureaucracy and red tape. Imagine that. Getting yourself off of a dangerous substance that is going to kill you very quickly comes with a lot of fucking red tape and bureaucracy, and it's very, very hard. And I've witnessed this firsthand. This is not just me blowing off shit. I've witnessed firsthand just how much crap you have to go through to get treatment for alcoholism. Because alcoholism is almost celebrated here. The same way that it is in the United States, but even worse. And like I said, there's a lot of hypocrisy behind it. The fact that marijuana is still illegal, but the government is perfectly okay with their citizens dying of liver cancer left and right, dying of all the other cancers that alcohol causes, heavy boozing, heavy alcoholism. And that's something else. The longer I live here, the less the way things work here makes sense. Even though when I first moved here, it's like, wow, look at how efficient their transportation is. Look at how efficient their infrastructure and all this stuff that all these taxes are paying for. How great. And then, of course, you have the dreaded language barrier that a few people here on YouTube said was going to do me in. Well, it's not the language barrier primarily that's doing me in, but it definitely 3.5 years. I'm never going to be fluent in Finnish. I'm sure as fuck probably not going to be fluent in Swedish, and I just have to get over that. And that's pretty much, you know, as I said, I am in therapy. I see a psychiatrist, and I see a psychotherapist, and these things help. But there are some days I wake up and I wonder, was I just meant to be in the United States? Was I just made and like born to live with those comforts? And like, how fucked am I? I don't know. I have not made any, you know, final determinations about my future, but I gotta tell you, folks, you know, I keep you updated every now and again about how it is being an American living in Finland, and it's not easy. It is not easy. It is, in fact, the hardest thing I've ever done, and it continues to be the hardest thing I've ever done. It's very lonely. It's very solitary. I mean, my God, the very first neighbor to actually greet me at my door at the new house was drunk, was just drunk off his ass. I could smell it off of him from 4 meters away. You know, doesn't really make me feel like there's a whole lot to look forward to. I thought I could be one of those examples of somebody who transitioned into another country and another culture and did it successfully. But you know what? Even if I did do it successfully, it would still be tainted. It would still be tainted because I came here relatively financially secure. I came here knowing that for at least the next 10 years, if I don't want to, I don't have to work. And this culture, it just, I guess, even for me, for somebody who enjoys privacy, who does enjoy being alone a lot of the time, but could use a friend every now and again, like anybody else. Oh, it's hard. And I guess some of you will take satisfaction in hearing me baw and complain about all of this because, you know, either you hate me or you thought I was a little bit too braggadocious about leaving the United States and going to a better place. And you know, there you go. I don't think I'm in a better place. And while I think I'm healthier here, this place is definitely better for my health overall. There's just no acclimating to this. So, anyway, if you listened, thanks for listening. And if you commented, if you had something to say, you know, thank you for commenting. But I think even if I weren't in the rut that I'm in right now, I would still laugh at the Finland is the happiest country in the world. The same way that Finns laugh at it, the same way people in Parliament laugh at it. This is not the happiest country in the world. You can't have as many drunks in your populace and still think that you have, you know, a lot of happiness to go around, because there's not. Because nobody wants to really talk to you, and nobody wants to go out of their way. And yeah, I'm sure there's something else I could complain about, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna sort of end the video here and wish you all a pleasant day. And hopefully the next video will be, it probably will be a bit more upbeat than this one, and hopefully with less throatiness, because I've had a bunch of phlegm in the back of my throat today. But stay safe and have a good day, folks.